Hello, and welcome to the first official episode of Line of Scrimmage. I'm your host, Quack McCleats, and over the next few minutes, I'll be using the extent of my football and statistical expertise to help break down, analyze, and predict the outcome of every NFL game scheduled this weekend. We're currently heading into Week 5 of the 2021-22 season, kicking things off on Thursday with the Rams visiting the Seahawks. Without further ado, let's get started. The Seahawks are at home this week with a small 1.5-point cushion to start this one off. Seattle is coming off a game where Wilson passed for just under 150 yards. Stafford's also coming off a subpar game relative to the rest of the season. Wilson will be looking to his wideouts off in this game. Ultimately, the Seahawks' abysmal secondary will lose in this one. Player prediction, Metcalf with 111 receiving yards and a touchdown. Wilson throws his first interception of the year. Rams take it 28-23. Next up, we have the underdog New York Jets visiting the Atlanta Falcons with 3.5 points under their belt. The Jets won a game! The Jets won a game! And the Falcons looked better, albeit with a losing score. This game looks optimistic for Zach Wilson, looking at the Falcons' poor defensive core. Matt Ryan, though, can find the seams in this Jets defense with the help of Ridley and Patterson. Ryan throws for 317 yards and 3 touchdowns, helping the Falcons beat the spread 32-21. Moving on, the Miami Dolphins are traveling about as many miles as they are granted points this week, with 10.5 starting in Tampa Bay versus the Buccaneers. The Dolphins' woes can't get much worse, can they? Fate hasn't blessed their latest rush performance with a favorable matchup this week either. They are, however, walking into a Buccaneers team that just squeaked out a victory in the rain against the Patriots, who dropped a game to the Dolphins Week 1. Buccaneers win, but it's not a blowout like most people may think. Bucs win 24-16. Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles are soaring to Carolina to take on the Panthers with 3.5 points in the bag. Jalen Hurts has emerged. 384 passing yards. Top target Devontae Smith will look to keep things hot as the Eagles' rush offense will struggle in this game, as will the Panthers' rush offense if McCaffrey isn't back. I have a wild prediction for this one. A tie. 30-30. Eagles beat the spread. Next up, the New Orleans Saints, with a 1.5 point deficit, fly over to Washington to take on Washington. Washington's defense has yet to look like the Washington defense everyone expected. The Saints' defense has come out to play, though. Well, maybe not last week, but for the most part they do. Washington, however, has found a rhythm in their offense. McLaurin poised to perform in this one, while Gibson will either hit it big, finding the holes when he can, or simply get stopped dead in his tracks. Washington upsets 28-25. Here we go. The Tennessee Titans are looking for redemption as they travel to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. The Jaguars got 4.5 points behind them. But is there anything more I need to say aside from Derrick Henry? I mean, I guess I could say James Robinson, but it would sound like a whisper compared to Derrick Henry. Trevor Lawrence is finding his footing, but is also finding the opponent's secondary when he throws it a bit too often. Well, luckily for him, the Titans' defense isn't the brightest bulb of the bunch. They'll make it a game, but in my opinion, the Titans will quite literally run away with this 42-21. Next up, we travel over to Minnesota, where the Lions are taking on the Vikings with 8.5 points behind them. The Lions. Goff and that fumble, interception, I don't even know what to call that. It felt so unique. I've never even seen anything like that. Oh, and Dalvin Cook is back. And Thielen is still around, just hanging, gonna catch a TD or two. Jefferson's waiting in the end zone too for his TD. Lions claw and scrape in this one and beat the spread, but fall just short, losing 27-24. Next up, the Denver Broncos travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers with a measly 0.5 points backing them up. So the Steelers have a wide receiver who appears to be able to consistently catch the ball and get yardage. Cool. Now do it against this Broncos defense. They didn't have the greatest outing last week, but the rest of their numbers speak for themselves. Broncos will rely heavily on Javonte Williams to pull some magic out of his hat this week, with Melvin Gordon questionable at this point. Steelers have allowed way too many sacks recently, which is just one more reason I can't confidently back them this week. Broncos win 17-13. Next, the Green Bay Packers travel to Cincinnati to battle it out with the Bengals with 3.5 points against them. Boyd, Burrow, Chase, Mixon, Bengals defense. My goodness, they're actually good. The team I like is actually good. However, the Packers are no walk in the park, and with, in my opinion, one of the top 4 wide receivers and top 4 running backs, respectively, in the league, it's going to be tough for the Bengals to hold them in check. Having said that, I predict the Bengals pull it off and hold Rodgers to 225 yards and 2 touchdowns, earning the upset at home 29-27. The New England Patriots are hot off their not victory. Oh yeah, the field goal. Well, anyway, they're heading to Houston to take on the Texans with 9.5 points against them. Oh my goodness. Oh wait, it's the Texans. And Brandon Cooks must feel like the most popular kid in the schoolyard, because anytime he's thrown the ball, there's about 11 other kids ready to dogpile him. Okay, enough of that analogy. Honestly, though, this Texans offense is scary, and not Mahomes and the Chiefs scary. More like, my eyes, they burn. Scary. And the Patriots, who just put a grinding halt to Tom Brady last week, will have it relatively easy this game. Player prediction, Jacoby Myers with 77 receiving yards and a touchdown. Patriots win 24-13. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears traveling to Las Vegas to battle the Raiders with 4.5 points under their belt. Just when Montgomery was finally blasting off, he's brought back down with an injury. I mean, it's all good for the Bears, so to speak, because Damian Williams will take the reins and march his way to hopeful victory. Carr will have something to say, though, and so will Waller and the gang. Unfortunately for them, the Bears have other ideas and are going to finally throw a touchdown or two and grind their way to a victory, 28-27. Baker Mayfield and the underdog Cleveland Browns enter this bout against the LA Chargers with 1.5 points. Defense. Defense, defense, defense. Seems to be the way some teams win games. Well, maybe a healthy balance for the Chargers. The Browns, on the other hand, want to stop the other team and then run with it. And it works. My God, it just might work. Chargers can't find the proper combination to solve this Browns defense, resulting in another upset this week. Player prediction, Eckler held to 38 rushing yards, but 41 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. Browns 28, Chargers 23. Another decently big spread, the New York Giants get 7.5 points when they travel to Dallas to fight the Cowboys. Alright, so with that in mind, let's list off the weapons and see if we can come to a decision. Elliott, Barkley, Lamb, Golladay, Cooper, Tony, Pollard, Jones, Schultz, Barkley, Trayvon Diggs. Did I say Barkley yet? Alright, looks like the Giants got some game and some options, just the fact that the Cowboys got more. And Diggs, who likes picking off quarterbacks with more than 1 interception per game this year. Cowboys stomp their way to victory in this clobberfest. Player prediction, Golladay with 95 receiving yards and a touchdown. Cowboys win 41-29. With 5.5 points to start them off, the San Francisco 49ers travel to Arizona to face the Cardinals. The Cardinals' arsenal just keeps expanding. Was everyone sleeping on AJ Green? Because I said at the start of the year, he'd be crushing it in Arizona, and so far, well, I'd say he is. Not to mention there's DeAndre Hopkins, Chase Edmonds, Christian Kirk, who was quieter than a church mouse last week, but in the weeks prior, he was crushing it too. The 49ers have Debo, and a rushing offense that may or may not be present. It's kind of a coin toss. If they show up, things could get spicy. Regardless, I think the Cardinals are winning 33-27. Here it is. Sunday Night Football, the game everyone's tuning in for this weekend while they chow down on nachos, chicken wings, and that absolutely delicious secret recipe homemade pumpkin pie from that relative you only ever see come harvest season. This shootout and possible future AFC Conference Final rematch will have sparks and touchdowns flying left and right. The Bills' defense may have been stellar as of recent, but this is the Kansas City Chiefs we're talking about. Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill, CEH. Unfortunately for the Bills, maybe if they had the home crowd they could pull it off. Chiefs shine in the sparkle of the stadium lights, winning this game 38-32. And here to end off Week 5 on Monday Night Football, the Indianapolis Colts are traveling to Baltimore to battle the Ravens with 7.5 points behind them. Now, for a team hanging at the bottom of the 2020 list in pass attempts, while sitting atop the league in rush attempts, has surprisingly lost its rushing prowess. I'm talking about the Ravens here. Latavius Murray is here to hopefully muster something together with Lamar Jackson, but they may be relying more on the pass game like recent weeks. The Colts, on the other hand, seem like their rushing game is just getting out of the gate. Taylor breaking 100 yards last week and earning the TD. Although the Colts battle hard, the Ravens show up to play in this one and return as a dominant force, 36-17. So there we have it. The Week 5 condensed analysis and predictions are set. You think I'm on the right track, completely off base, or maybe you have some predictions of your own? Feel free to share them in the comments below. Be sure to tune in Tuesday when I'll be releasing an NFL Week 5 review and analysis. This has been the first episode of Line of Scrimmage. Once again, my name is Quack McCleats, signing off, and until next time, keep playing your game.